Good evening and welcome to Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. I am Madhavdas G. Viewers, we are talking about what has happened in last year's Pune Porsche Crash Case. The minor accused now, we are told, will not be tried as an adult because of the Juvenile Justice Board rejecting the Pune police's application. This accused was a 17-year-old at the time of the crash. He was allegedly behind the wheels of the speeding Porsche which crushed two young techies to death in the early hours of May 19, 2024. The minor accused was also in an alleged inebriated state at the time of the crash. Now, the JJB has relied on a Supreme Court ruling saying that the offence attributed to the minor does not fall within the ambit of a heinous offence. Remember, the case had sparked widespread outrage across the country as the VVIP brat got bail hours after the accident. The lenient bail terms included asking the minor to write a 300-word essay on road safety.
Today, Honorable JJB Pune has ordered that in this offence, which is related to Kalyani Nagar Porsche car case of 2024, which occurred in the 19th of May, Honorable JJB has decided or hold that the offence what was committed by that particular CCL, that small boy, is not heinous offence as per the definition and as per the provisions given in the act itself. No doubt this particular judgment requires some due deliberations from all the sides. Basically, there is a flaw in the provision of law. This is what I feel as a lawman.
Now, the Pune police has argued that the offence committed in this case was heinous. The police told the Juvenile Justice Board that the actual driver had asked the minor not to drive the car on the day of the accident, but he still drove the car after consuming liquor, knowing fully well the consequences of driving under the influence of alcohol. Police further claimed that the minor accused was present at the Sassoon hospital when his blood samples were swabbed. The defense lawyer, on the other hand, argued that the minor has no prior criminal record and the incident that happened was due to poor judgment rather than criminal intention. He's argued that the present offence was not premeditated or malicious and that the minor lacked full comprehension of the legal and the moral consequences of the offence. The JJB has once again triggered a debate as to whether reforms are needed in India's juvenile justice system. Questions are once again being asked that can minors enjoy complete immunity even when crimes committed have fatal consequences? Let's take this across to Nilesh and Tejshri who are joining us. Nilesh, coming to you first. Now, this entire decision, of course, of the JJB has sparked off yet another debate. It's not the first high-profile crime in which we are seeing this demand arise. In this particular case, though, many are asking that if he can drink, if he can drive a car, all of which are privileges which are reserved for those who are above the age of 18, then surely the consequences should also be borne by this one individual.
Well, yes, absolutely, Madhav, and that is the point that has again initiated the point of discussion among the citizens as well. Now, remember, it is a more than a year-long case that has again resurfaced, and again a discussion is into the fore that why such individuals, such accused, should not be treated as an adult. Now, as you also highlighted, the prosecution debated or presented his point that if the accused, the 18-year-old or 17-8-month-old, is aware of his condition, he consumes alcohol, he is onto a salivating mood, spends thousands of rupees in a restaurant, is all in a consequence that he understand what his action could lead to. Yet again he goes into the driving position even after being stopping by the main driver of the car, and later on a blood swapping also is being done in presence of this accused or this minor, and he again understands the consequences of it. He understands that this is all illegal aspect, illegal step that he and his family members are taking. Then why should this individual or this child in conflict with the law should not be treated as an adult? To which
absolutely. In fact, let me just take this question across to Tejshri. Tejshri, now we have also exposed in the past. Last year, you had been to Pune. You had conducted an exclusive sting operation where it was revealed that these individuals were being fed junk food in a bid to lower the blood alcohol levels, and the entire alcohol tests were delayed. There is also the very serious allegation of the blood sample being swapped. Take us through what exactly were the series of cover-ups that were attempted by the family, which is quite an influential family in Pune.
Well, absolutely. This was not just a case, but it was a complete cover-up. We saw that how since day one, after the juvenile accused got arrested, he was granted bail by the JJB on condition that he has to write a 300 words essay. That's it, and he was granted bail on that particular condition. Later on, we saw that even after he was arrested, and then how, in fact, he was given a VVIP treatment. Times Now was the only channel who carried out multiple sting operations, exposed that how he was fed with pizzas, burgers, cold drinks in the police station itself by the police officers. Not just that, but even at the time of medical to check whether he has the traces of alcohol in his blood or not, the blood samples were also swapped with his mother. So not just the juvenile accused, but the entire family, from his father to mother to grandfather, each one of them were involved because they were quite influential. And not just that, but also, in fact, the dean of Sassoon Hospital was involved, who was suspended after Times Now's investigation and the sting operation as well. And also not just that, but the big political figures were also named in this entire case, and it definitely was a big goof up. But the big question over here is that if JJB is considering him as a juvenile and rejecting the plea of the police, then it is also questionable that why it did not consider at that point of time when he hit those two innocent individuals.
Absolutely, there are many questions which make this an outrageous case. Certainly, it's a case that's not just restricted to Pune or Maharashtra, but the entire nation was outraged about how entitled this VVIP brat can be, that he's able to get away with this kind of behavior. I'd like to thank both of you, Nilesh as well as Tejshri, for joining us. We're going to come back to you for more updates in the investigation into this entire case. But let me open this up and take it across to our guest now joining us. With us is Prashant Patil, the minor's lawyer. We have with us Dr. Sharanya Jayakumar, who's a child rights expert. Ashok Kumar is a former IPS officer, and Abha Singh is a lawyer and activist. Let me start with you first. Prashant Patil, the question that many are asking is this. Yes, the courts may have ruled, and there is, of course, nothing that stops the superior courts from taking suo motu cognizance of this. But if a person can, not just drive a car or consume alcohol, but kill individuals irresponsibly because of their own reckless acts, and all of these acts are things that only one can do once one turns 18, why should the law not be applied for adults on this individual? And that to a person whose family has repeatedly tried to cover up this crime.
See, at the outset, I would like to say, because I'm representing in this matter, I cannot talk about the evidence the way you can talk about it. There are certain restrictions for a lawyer to speak about it, because the matter is sub judice. I can only apprise you what is the rule of law as it stands today. As we speak, we are all bound by two parameters. One is the Supreme Court judgment, which directly covers this particular aspect which we are discussing right now. Any proceedings, any judicial proceedings, any statement contrary to the guidelines of the Honorable Supreme Court will not be permissible. The Honorable Supreme Court has come directly on this law point whether such kind of offences can prima facie be termed as a heinous offence, quote unquote. So these were the judgments which we relied on before the Honorable Juvenile Justice Board. Because these judgments are binding on the board, maybe the board has given an order in such a fashion. Now, coming to the Act, the Juvenile Justice Act has been drafted by the Honorable Parliament way back in 1996. Before the Act came into picture, we as Union of India have made representations to the United Nations. We have a child-centric Act in our country. The entire preamble and the draft of the Act looks at rehabilitation of the juvenile.
We are all aware of what the law of the land is. We are all aware of what the law of the land is. The question is, when such cases come to mind, and Mr. Prashant Patil, it is not the first case. Remember that when the Nirbhaya case happened, the juvenile at that time as well, activists were so outraged they had demanded that even the juvenile in that case should have been tried as an adult. And let me bring in Abha Singh on that note. Abha Singh, we all know what the law prescribes. There is a reason that juvenile justice boards exist. But when you have individuals like this, who are committing such crimes just because they are entitled, they feel they can play around with the system, they feel they can play around with the evidence, they are fed junk food, pizzas and burgers to evade the alcohol tests. It is the limit of testing, what the criminal judicial system of India really stands for. And that is why this demand is being made. Why should this young man not be tried as an adult?
Madhav, you're very right. In fact, the whole country is enraged, and when this law was passed, this was a defect which all these juveniles are taking advantage of, because it said heinous is something where punishment is more than 7 years. And here all the charges which Pune police has put, they are all punishment less than 7 years, and that is how the police gets compromised. Issue is, the 2 people have died due to his drunken driving. In fact, if you remember, there was a case where this young techie Sapna Shukla was on Kurla station, and a man pushed her to pull her chain. She came before the train and died. And when we fought this case on behalf of Sapna Shukla's parents, this same issue came up, and they said, no, though that man is not an adult, he's a juvenile, less than 18 years, 17 years, some months. So for pushing a girl to pull her chain, he got the benefit of this juvenile law. So here, when the learned advocate for the accused says that I am the lawyer and this I am taking advantage of the law, we are sitting with folded hands. But the issue is, what about justice? 2 people have lost their lives. And when we say that anything where heinous offense, so is this not heinous? I think the parliament needs to sit like Nirbhaya. It needs to sit overnight and amend this law, because we have so many juveniles in the age group of 17 committing murders, committing rape. In fact, this law is being used by the underworld, who get these 17-year-old boys from UP, Bihar, and for a small amount of money give supari killing and get murders done. So I think today should be a lesson, and all the parliamentarians who are watching your show better sit down and amend this law, which is giving these killer juveniles the benefit.
Killer juveniles, Dr. Sharanya Jayakumar, we all know. And we appreciate. I mean, I'm sure most of the panelists here must be parents as well. The issue is not about protecting children's rights. The issue is also about, how people are able to take advantage of the loopholes in the system. I mean, it is shocking, and it is not restricted to any one state, because there are multiple states where there are criminal gangs which operate, which give these 16 and 17-year-olds, contracts for killing or committing heinous crimes. And then those individuals are able to get away just because they fall a year or 2 short of the age limit. So there is a serious abuse of the system happening, and this Pune case is, mind-boggling, because here you have a wealthy individual who thinks that they can hoodwink the entire system.
Child behind the wheel causing fatal accident, I feel, is not an example of a bad child, but bad parenting and a failed society.
Really, ma'am?
As a child rights activist,
a drunk child?
I will explain that, Madhav, to you. Why we have such laws, we need to understand as a psychologist. All of them here and watching this show, I need to explain. There is one part of your brain called the frontal cortex. The frontal cortex development happens exactly after a particular age, until which a child will not be able to say what is correct, what is wrong. He just has a physical ability to do everything. Ride a bike, drive a car, do anything. But his mental ability to think and, have the cognition to say if this is right or wrong is just not there. I really differ from many of them's opinion that says he was aware.
Ma'am, where is the frontal cortex when they were swapping blood samples? Was the frontal cortex not developed at that time?
See,
or was that also being developed, in the process of being developed, when they were busy swapping blood samples?
The parents are responsible. The parents are responsible. I don't deny that.
Then,
bad parenting. Bad parenting.
Or when he was being busy fed pizzas and burgers to evade the alcohol test. What is that?
Definitely wrong.
Is that not subverting the system?
The parents must be held responsible. Parents must be punished.
What about the police, in whose custody he was, who are supposed to serve those 2 young lives that were snuffed out, whose parents' dreams were shattered because of this rich, spoiled brat on the streets of Pune? Why are you defending this one child who is completely, this young man who is completely nothing but a rich, spoiled brat? And is really an example. We have seen in city after city, luxury cars being misused by these young men and women who carry out these crimes, and whether they inebriated or not, the point is they snuffed out other lives. What are the consequences for doing that? Nothing in this country.
What are the parents doing? That is my question. Bad parenting in the name of gentle parenting.
So are the parents behind bars then? No, what are you saying? The parents should be behind bars? Are they behind bars in this case?
They have. See, if the parents are behind the bars, then there is deterrence. Then there is learning in the child.
Ashok Kumar, the parents should be behind bars. Now, it's very well for the JJB, and from talking from the point of view of JJB, this is what the law is. But there is no law which makes the parents accountable, is there?
There is a provision in the Motor Vehicle Act which makes parents also accountable if they give the vehicle to a juvenile. there is very heavy penalty on the parents. So that clause should be used. Also, police usually applies 304A for the motor vehicle accidents. But this particular case is a fit case for 304, which has 10 years punishment. Because there are two faults. One, license, how the license was made. Why the car was given to a person who is a juvenile, who doesn't have a license. And three, he drunk. So both these things, that if you give a vehicle to such a person, he will be a danger on the road. Therefore, the section that should be put up should be 304, which is a heinous offense, which calls for 10 years punishment. That's what I would say.
Prashant Patil, why should more serious charges not be slapped on your client's parents? Why should they not be behind bars?
I believe, sir, unfortunately, many of the panelists do not know what are the facts of the case. 304 is already alleged against the entire case, Section 304 IPC. In fact, even there are other charges of Prevention of Corruption Act and there are other charges of 467 IPC which have already been alleged. Everything has been argued minutely and in detail. Please understand one thing, we are at a pre-trial stage today. You and me cannot decide what is the evidence. Police have carried out their duty, they have carried out investigation, filed a charge sheet.
Yes.
The matter is pending
Prashant
adjudication.
Patil, very difficult to decide the evidence when your clients are busy swapping the evidence samples. It's very difficult, I agree with you. Extremely difficult in such a situation to decide what is the evidence.
So, sir, that is your allegation, sir.
No, not just my allegation. The police have also confirmed it. And action has been taken on the hospital authorities also.
Madhav, I'd really like to add here, Section 77 of the
so
JJ Act should have been added in this case.
I cannot.
Who gave the substance to the child? Who gave alcohol to the child?
Added, madam.
It is added.
Which is already added. It's a non-cognizable, yes, and it's a non-cognizable offence, and it has already been added. So everything has been done.
Wants to respond to you. Abha Singh.
If any of the sections are put, but you've declared him a juvenile, so it doesn't matter. You may put culpable homicide, you may put that, but he gets the benefit of being a juvenile. So now that I said that Parliament needs to amend this law, that is just not minimum 7 years, anything heinous. If it leads to death of a person, he should be treated as an adult. We need an amendment in law, and I remember clearly when Mr. Rajnath Singh was Home Minister, after the Sapna Shukla case, we wrote to him that please change the law. So I think now the country needs to demand that this benefit which is being given to juveniles, and that is why they are emboldened to do such acts of rape and driving these vehicles. I would say that if you are drunk and you're on a Mercedes or a BMW, it's as good as giving an AK-47 to that person. So you know they are going to commit accidents and kill people. So giving them this benefit because the Parliament made a faulty law, that needs to be corrected.
Why should the law not be amended, Mr. Prashant Patil? Because this case shows how your team, your clients are very clearly, using every loophole in the law to get away and evade punishment.
If I may say, first of all, there are two submissions here. I'm totally with the panelist and Abha ma'am, especially when we say that the law needs to be amended. We as lawyers, journalists and the right-minded people of the society were all together on that. There is no disagreement on that part, first of all. Secondly, every accused has a right to defend himself. We are in a country which is a democratic process. Every person who has been alleged of a crime has a right to appoint a lawyer of his choice and defend himself. Whatever the fate of the matter, that is for the Honorable Trial Court to decide. Just because a particular accused has raised a defense.
Let me bring in Mr. Suresh Costa. Let me bring in. You try telling all this to the person who has lost their child. Mr. Suresh Costa is with us. He's the father of Ashwini Costa. Mr. Suresh Costa, all right, I think we've lost that line. We'll try and reconnect with Suresh Costa. But Mr. Ashok Kumar, it's all very well to come and say we are all right-thinking people, we are part of civil society, we are educated, the law needs improvement. But what's happening in this case? सुरेश कोस्ता बैक विद अस. सुरेश कोस्ता जी, क्या कहना चाहेंगे जो यहाँ पे वकील हैं, जो डिफेंड कर रहे हैं, जो माइनर को, जो जुवेनाइल घोषित कर दिए हैं अक्यूज्ड को, उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप कि इस तरह की जो क्राइम उन्होंने कमिट करी है, शराब पिए जो 18 साल से ज्यादा उम्र होनी चाहिए, गाड़ी चले जिसमें 18 साल से ज्यादा उम्र होनी चाहिए, इन सारी चीजों के बावजूद उन्होंने ये क्राइम की है और उनको एक जुवेनाइल की तरह यहाँ पे ट्राई किया जा रहा है. क्या मांग होगी आपके जो उच्चतम न्यायालय या हाई कोर्ट से कि क्या करना चाहिए, क्या इंटरवेंशन करना चाहिए उसको पूरे केस में? सुरेश जी. सुरेश कोस्ता जी, आपको आवाज आ रही है? Can you hear me? But I think there's an audio problem. We'll try and reconnect. But Mr. Ashok Kumar, what would you like to say to this? Because this appears to be lip service. We need to change the law. But what's actually happening on ground?
Firstly, I agree with Abha Singh that law needs to be changed. It's a very, very light law. You know, the person, the juvenile who is above age of 14 and below 18, this should be a different category, because this is the age group people used to become father at this age. These people are committing murders, these people are committing rapes, they are committing accidents. So 14 to 18 should be a special category where the circumstances of the case should be seen, and only then it should be decided whether he gets the advantage of juvenile or not. This is my belief, that law needs to be changed strongly, and I've come across many cases in my career where these people of this age, 15, 16, 17, 18, are committing lots of crimes including rape, which is a very heinous crime.
Ms. Jayakumar, I want you to come in on this, because, you know, the point is this: if the law can be violated with this kind of impunity, you certainly don't want a situation where criminals are able to, you know, exploit these youngsters, these teenagers, who are going to get sucked into this entire system just because of their age and because of where they are.
It is already happening, Madhav. I have to admit that there are a lot of people who misuse this law to use minor children, involve them in offences. This is not considered a heinous offence currently according to the law, because this child did not want to kill them. It is still considered a motor vehicle accident. But I definitely agree with the fact that children must have deterrence. They cannot involve in such things. It is affecting their future. Whether the law is changing or not, here I'd like to interrupt to say children must be aware of the current laws at least. How many children are aware of the existing laws already? Not many children are aware of it. And when we make amendments in the law, that also has to be brought to schools. Children must be educated on laws that actually could make them children in conflict with law. They could get into trouble. Even in cases of teenage pregnancy or child marriages or eloping cases, there are still boys being booked under POCSO Act. There are children who don't understand these laws. You and I, we understand the law and we're talking about it. How many children understand this? We need to take it to them is what I feel.
Okay, Mr. Costa is back with us. Costa ji, क्या कहना चाहेंगे? जो इस पूरे मामले में accused हैं, उनको अब एक juvenile की तरह ट्राई किया जाएगा. क्या उन्हें adult की तरह ट्राई किया जाना चाहिए?
मैं तो इस मामले में शुरू से ही कहते आया हूं कि ये जो बालक है वो किसी एंगल से माइनर दिखता नहीं. इसके एटीट्यूड, इसका व्यवहार, इसका चाल चलन किसी एंगल से माइनर नजर नहीं आ रहा है. मगर आज जुवेनाइल जस्टिस बोर्ड के माननीय मेंबरों को न जाने कैसे ये बालक जो है एकदम बिल्कुल मासूम नजर आया, जिसने दो लोगों की जान ले ली, अनियंत्रित रूप से गाड़ी चलाकर, अनियंत्रित रूप से शराब पीकर 2 लोगों की जान ले ली. वो बालक इनको मासूम नजर आ रहा है. मेरे को ये समझ में नहीं आ रही बात. इस देश के कानून पे, बेटी पे
क्या अपील करना चाहेंगे आप कोर्ट से? केवल ट्रायल कोर्ट या जुवेनाइल जस्टिस बोर्ड कोर्ट ही नहीं, लेकिन हाई कोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट से क्या अपील करना चाहेंगे आप?
इस देश में जितनी भी कोर्ट हैं, माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदया जी, माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट, माननीय उच्च न्यायालय मुंबई, माननीय जिला सेशन जज, जितने भी कोर्ट है, जिनके अधिकार क्षेत्र में ये आता है कि इसको जो है ना माइनर ट्रीट नहीं किया जाना चाहिए, तो जो बालक 2 लोगों की जान ले ले उसको माइनर कैसे ट्रीट कर सकते हैं या मासूम कैसे बता सकते हैं?
जी, आप
तो इसको एडल्ट ट्रीट करते हुए केस चलाया जाना चाहिए. और जितने इसके सपोर्टर हैं, माँ बाप हुए, रिश्तेदार हुए और ये डॉक्टर हुए, इन लोगों के ऊपर बाकायदा क्रिमिनल केस.
Okay. Suresh Costa ji, आपकी आवाज and your appeal as a parent who has lost his child, Ashwini Costa, in this terrible tragedy as far as the Pune case is concerned. And certainly, of course, there has to be deterrent. This cannot be the state of affairs where people can kill other individuals and get away in this manner by claiming that they're juveniles. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of enragement in the country because of what's happening as far as this entire case is concerned. But we'll have to leave it there. Suresh Kosaji, thank you so much for speaking to us. Prashant Patil, Dr. Sharana Jaikumar, Ashok Kumar, Abha Singh, thank you so much for joining us this evening.